I get lost in design. To be in the design moment is to feel connected to God. It's something that is so intrinsic to what I do that it honestly is not something that I think about at all. It's my life. My name is Bee Pila, and I'm an interior designer. And I'm also the pioneer of what I call the Design Enlightenment movement. Hi everyone, this is Bee Pila with Bee Pila Design Studio, and I'm super excited today because I've received another design dilemma that I get to solve together with you. But today is a really special day. It's December, we're getting ready for the holidays. There's so much going on in our lives, and design dilemmas are definitely put back on the back burner, but spaces are really used this time of year, especially all of those spaces that have a tendency to go by the wayside, like living rooms and dining rooms. So to me, this time of year actually activates all of these spaces that for most part of the year, we end up kind of just looking at and walking past. So the energy that's in these spaces really makes me happy. And today's design dilemma is actually about a very important room. We received this dilemma from Nora, and she tells the story that this space that is in a house that she completely remodeled. In fact, she gutted it completely. It's a 1950s ranch, one of my favorite styles. I love 1950s ranches because they bring a lot of natural light in, and they're a great design. They have a beautiful bone structure. And this house doesn't disappoint because she tells the story that this particular room, the previous owner had divided in half, but it has a beautiful vaulted ceiling. So when she removed the middle wall, it exposed this gorgeous pitched ceiling. Not only that, it also has tremendous symmetry, which already brings so much beauty to the space. So I'm loving the room and I'm loving the structure that it already has. But the dilemma is in how to make it cozy, how to make it a fabulous study room, which already the built-ins that are in this space serve that purpose, and they're beautifully done. You can tell, Nora, that you've put a lot of time and attention into this, and you've gotten guidance in design, which I think is always fantastic. Now, the furniture. Because furniture is actually the architecture of the space. Furniture is what creates the support for the activities that are going to go in this room. So I want to know a little more, and I was so fortunate because not only did Nora send me this design dilemma, but a few days later, I had the opportunity to meet her personally. And it was just such a serendipitous moment. I couldn't believe that I had her face to face and I could dive deep into my design therapy questions a little further, and I got a little more information than just her dilemmas about furniture placement. She told me that this room is for her one son, her only son, and that it's a really important room to him because it's a gift. It's a room that he requested for himself. You know, when kids, especially boys, they get into that stage where they're just turning into men, and they want to have time to spend with other friends in a place that they can call their own. It's when they start closing the doors to their rooms and start saying, "Mom, leave me alone. I need some space." So, you know, this is a beautiful moment for me because spaces are a reflection of our lives and our children's lives. And especially today that they're so exposed to so much, like on TV and magazines and catalogs that come into their homes, I find that kids in general are one of the most design savvy people there are. They come with their ideas and we have to respect them because this is what's going to lay the foundation for the future of their lives and in their creation of sacred spaces for themselves. So this space for your son is incredibly important to you and to him. And I'd love to help you create that gift. So let's get to the design dilemma. I've created a little floor plan so that we can see, and we're gonna work on this together. So check it out. So Nora, here is the space as you submitted it, and you did such a great job of giving me all the information. You actually gave it dimensions and the layout, and it's just perfect. So It's basically a very clean rectangular space that is super symmetrical. In fact, so symmetrical that we have the door to the entry on this side and the window directly opposite. And you have the pocket door to the bathroom and the window directly opposite that. And another really beautiful thing is what I was telling you, telling about the vaulted ceiling that's right down the middle, which I've drawn this dashed line right down the middle so we know that that is like the middle point. So I think you've already done a great job of placing the TV in this spot. And based on the pictures you sent me, I saw that you had an existing sofa, which you claim you didn't like. And I think you were absolutely right in getting rid of that because it wasn't going to serve you or your son properly. And you've bought this other sofa that I want to comment on. As you notice, I only have the built-in desk drawn over here, and I have the chair on this side, and of course the built-in on this side. I left out the sofa on purpose, because as we place the furniture in this room, if I wanted to give myself an opportunity to show you what I would do if you didn't have any furniture. So the sofa that you have purchased, which is kind of a small sectional, is something like this. It has a chaise attachment. So it's kind of this thing here, right? That is what you have. And it's actually not a bad choice at all. Number one, it looks really soft, looks very inviting. My only concern is that, is it big enough and substantial enough to support the friends that are going to come into this room and share the space with your son? Because if this sofa was just for him and just for hanging out, just them, then I would say it's perfectly okay. So with this in mind, I'll tell you what would have been a little bit cooler would be to get more seating by extending out and selecting something that was modular, that had an ottoman, for example. And I know you've seen these, you know, they have ottomans that connect. Oops, I think my table moved, right? And the reason that I did that is because I know that the boys are gonna gather around and they're gonna need to move stuff around. Now, I'm almost positive at the age that your son is that he does some gaming. Maybe it's a little controlled, which I think is great, but I'm sure when the boys come in here, they're gonna watch that TV and they're gonna game. So if you would have selected something yourself without, which I think you did, that's sectional. Let's go from that point first. All right? If you're gonna keep that sofa that you got, which I think is actually not a bad selection at all, okay? Then I would want you to support that with additional seating. I would do some swiveling game chairs over here, an ottoman, maybe on casters, maybe a small poof over here that another kid could sit on. In fact, if you get small swiveling chairs, you can support this and they can gather, move these around and use them to watch both TV shows as well as game here. So that will add the additional support. I would try to keep to things that are soft, similar to the sectional that you have. You could make this an ottoman so that it's also seating, but I think either round, because when you do a chaise like this that is not long with an extension, right? What ends up happening is the table gets shifted. You know, it can't really hang out in the middle of the space. So one of the things that's beautiful about this room is its symmetry, but one of the things that's limiting about this room is its symmetry. So you almost have to honor this middle point. When you extend into this space, all of a sudden, the beauty of the symmetry is hard to manage. So I would go slightly asymmetrical. I think you can keep the sofa that you had, but what you want to do is make sure that everything that you select for this room is user-friendly, movable, and especially durable for the boys to not, and I'm saying boys, it might be girls too, but so that they don't feel intimidated by using this space. Because if your goal is to make sure that he feels comfortable and cozy, then you want to make sure that everything you select in this room, like put on your teenage hat, okay? Think in terms of what they like and make sure that you pick from that perspective instead of picking from the adult perspective, which is always fun because that's what I do when I interview kids to do their rooms. I get to make believe that I am their age at that time in my life, and I invite them to share that with me. And I think this is a great opportunity for you to ask him questions and tell him the things that I ask my clients and of course ask the children. I want to know, how do they want to feel? And this brings up something really important, Nora, because you wrote in your design dilemma. Notice that I didn't even read it because I got to know you. And I'm inviting all of you to do this with me. This is not just about interior design and beauty. This is about creating a feeling in your spaces that feels sacred to you. And the only way that I can know that, not just you, Nora, but anyone that's writing into me in this design dilemma, the way you get the most out of me is to tell me more. Tell me how you want to feel. The language that I speak in design is the language of feeling, because that is the language of our souls. That is the language of our hearts. And without that, spaces can be very beautiful, but we don't want our spaces to be without a soul. So your son deserves to have his room feel sacred, and I hope that you can help support his desires, and his desires especially with feeling, to come to life by adding the right, soft, relaxing, inviting elements to this room. Lastly, I don't want to forget accessories, okay? I think the lighting in this room is a little bright. I hope that you have a dimmer so that you can drop the lighting down when they want to relax and not be in study mode. So lighting is an intangible that you have to keep in mind. I think that a lot of people don't give a lot of thought to the way the lighting in a space is going to be used. So I think having a nice table lamp here on a side table would be excellent, so that you can turn off all the upper lighting and just make it a little more relaxed. Another element that I think is important is to add a soft rug to the floor, because as you know, kids love to sit on the floor. Oops, I moved my table again. All right, you don't want them to feel the coldness of the floor. And lastly, I want you to think about the last intangible, which is noise. So soft elements in a room soften the noise. That's why I said it's important to add a rug. I see that you have shutters on your window treatments, which is nice, but it doesn't offer you any sound absorption. So having a rug, having soft pillows added to your sofa, anything that you can add to this room that adds softness will help to acoustically make this room come to life as well. You want it to absorb sound and not be too loud. Lastly, of course, a beautiful piece of art back here would be fantastic as a focal point, and make sure that it resonates with him. I hope that you are enjoying this and you're able to capture all of the things that you want. Make sure that you use the language of feeling with him and with yourself. And once again, I can't emphasize any more strongly that I would love to hear these design dilemmas coming from the heart, Please make sure you tell me how you want to feel in your space, and I'm going to make sure that we get this right. So Nora, I hope that you were able to grasp as much information as I was wanting to give you on this design dilemma. I mean, I feel that this was a very special design dilemma for me, because I can't believe that I had an opportunity after you submitted it to meet you personally. And that brings something up for me that I want to reiterate today. When anyone is submitting their design dilemma to me, please make sure you pour it out. Don't hold back. This isn't just about interior design. We get enough of that on TV. Okay, we get a lot of that makeover stuff that happens in 5 minutes. And you know, the reality of that is it's just TV. We have so much going on in our lives, and we want to dive deep into ourselves in order to get that full satisfaction. Beauty is not only what it's about. Of course, we love to walk into beautiful spaces. We love to see gorgeous makeovers, but the truth is that these spaces have to feel like home. And the only way that I can absorb that through this medium, which I thoroughly enjoy doing, is by listening to your heart's desires. So please make sure that you tell me these things. Now, Nora, one last thing, because as I was showing you the floor plan, I forgot to talk a little bit about the accessories. We started, of course, with the rug, and we started with some table lamps, etc. But I also noticed that you have some amazing shelves, and I believe that one of the most beautiful aspects of interior design and bringing personalization to it is making these shelves real. So have your son pull things that are important to him. Ask him to bring 3 things that he really, really loves, that would love to integrate into this space, and use those as a foundation to build upon. Make those shelves personal. Don't just go out and throw pretty things on a shelf. Make them beautiful, but make them real. Ask him how he feels about them. And those little details are gonna help to make this space feel sacred to him and to you. I hope that you enjoyed hearing what my thoughts are about this design dilemma. Please send me more, because I would love to see how this turns out. And I hope that all of you enjoy submitting and getting information on this design therapy session with me. And I look forward to more design dilemmas to come. Thank you.